Welcome to another episode of Take Up Space. Again, we're talking about all things healing with candid conversations and people that are really special to me and their unconventional stories. Today, I'm super excited because we have Nadia Shalwani in the studio, and she's a nutritionist, she's a health coach, she's the owner of Enhanced Studio, and beyond all that, she's just a special friend, an amazing soul, and has been like a mentor to me through my own journey. So I'm really excited for her to be here and to give back to you guys, and you can hear her story. So now we can start.
That was really sweet.
I try.
So sweet. I was always wondered how someone would introduce me, and I'm like,
Yeah, because you're all those things, but you're also just so kind.
oh,
You didn't have to do this, and you wanted to.
I really wanted to.
I appreciate it.
Because I knew you were going to take up space.
Yeah.
I know it.
I'm trying.
I love it.
Okay, so I'm going to start us off. I think it would be amazing just to hear. I feel like I've known you for a really long time. I don't know who's going to be watching this and how long they've known you, but your journey to me from the outside looking in has been wild and inspiring. So I've seen you like in different phases of your business where you had been
you have.
like when it was a bit smaller and you were, working off the dome, like in your room or whatever. But now I've seen you grow and you have your own studio. And not only are you like growing and expanding and I feel like building this empire, you're also supporting other people because you have all those other coaches in the room, which you probably can explain a lot better than I can. But I've seen this entire like transition, not as closely, and probably the stuff that's been harder I haven't been a part of. But it's always really inspiring to see. So I think it'd be really cool to hear just how you got into the space that you chose.
Yeah, of course. So, first of all, thanks again for the introduction. That was really sweet. I would say it just came from my own personal experience being raised in the community that we were raised in.
Yeah.
Our own journey, my own journey with food, my own journey with movement, my own journey with regulating myself as a young child, growing up in a very chaotic household. A lot of the times, the only, back then, the only dopamine we had was shitty food.
Yeah.
Right? And so a lot of the times where my parents didn't know much about food back in the day, we would just eat anything that was fun and yummy.
Tortino's pizza.
All of that, like freaking Miss Fields cookies and like constantly McDonald's and all that fun stuff. But a lot of that, what ended up happening was it did create a very unhealthy way of regulating my emotions, right? So a lot of the food directly correlated with the way I reacted to the world.
Yeah.
Just because I only knew what chaos was,
Right.
so I was only used to chaos. As I got older, I started moving a little bit more. Like in high school, I started playing basketball, flag football,
Nice.
and I have to thank my community for that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of positives in my community that we had the opportunity to move and whatnot. But I did started noticing a huge change in the way my body felt, my mind felt when I moved more.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
I got addicted because I'm like, oh my God, this is like really healthy dopamine. And this is like really fun dopamine. It doesn't make me feel the way the food I'm
Right.
eating makes me feel.
Right.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah.
So I'm like, there's got to be a way to be faster, stronger, better in whatever I'm doing, whether it's a sport or if I was like lifting weights, right?
Yeah.
I realized at every pivotal moment in my life, I've had a turning point in movement. So like when my sister left for college, I ended up weightlifting. When I got into high school, I was playing sports. And when I got into college, I started bodybuilding.
Okay.
So
yeah.
every pivotal moment, I would choose some other movement because I knew movement is what gave me that happiness, right?
Gotcha.
So
your dopamine switched from the chaos and the food to like movement.
right.
Truly.
I just continue to want it more, but like
Yeah.
more different.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, okay, I feel better every time I try something different. So then I get into college and I took a nutrition course. It was a basic nutrition course, fell in love with it, and was like, you know what? If I can help my clients eat better while I train them, while I'm training them, they'll be faster, stronger, and better, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of how my journey went into becoming a nutritionist, a sports nutritionist, and a trainer. It's just my own experience,
Your own
literally.
experience.
Then I was like, I feel good. Everyone
Yeah.
can feel good. So what can I do to help them feel the same way?
Yeah. I love that. So you found something that works for you, and then you were like, I want to share this. Like, I want to give this back.
Yeah.
And help others.
Yeah, because I've seen in my community like what a lot of not so positive comments and
Yeah.
expectations of a woman.
Yeah.
I've seen it with my mom. So I don't know. I just felt there was a way to help others out because not everyone is. I mean, we're not alone when we feel we're not feeling great. So
Yeah, we all feel all of that at times.
yeah,
So, did you know, like from the get, that this is what you were gonna do?
absolutely not.
Really? Okay.
Right.
What was it before this?
I wanted to go into the medical field and become a PA. Yeah.
Was that like by choice, like something you had a passion for, or
Yeah.
like parents?
It was probably expectations, to be honest. It was a lot of comparisons in my friend group when we were growing up. Like, she went to this university and she's going to do this and she's going to graduate with this. Well,
Yeah.
okay, I'm going to do med too.
Right.
You know what I
right.
mean? I want to do that too. And I just wasn't happy with it. I was doing well. I just wasn't happy with it.
Yeah.
And so when I took random courses, which I'm very thankful for my parents because they never expected anything. They didn't even expect me to go to college. They're just like, be happy.
Oh.
Me and my sister went because we felt kind of, I mean, I'm kind of glad we had the community to be like, okay, yeah, we want to do good for ourselves. We want to go to
Yeah.
college and whatnot. But I was just freely choosing classes, and that's kind of where it came from.
Okay, so there wasn't like a specific moment that like switched over. You just were dabbling in different classes.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally. I
That's
just
so
took
cool.
nutrition because I'm like, nutrition, oh my God, I can get stronger. That I just kept thinking it for myself. I'm just like,
Yeah.
what am I going to do? What's going to teach me? And it's going to help me in my life. That's going to be useful because everything we learned in high school was not useful. What's like, we get to go
Right.
to college and actually choose what we want to learn.
Right.
And so that's kind of where that came from.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love that. I'm so glad that life led you there
did.
because you were my coach multiple times.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bring up two incidences that I loved from our time together.
Okay.
Because I really want people to know what I appreciated about the way you do what you do. And then maybe you can kind of speak on, you know,
Sure.
how that philosophy is. But the first one, I think it was our second time coaching together. And I don't know if many people know this, but there is the nutrition piece, but there's also like our one-on-ones that we have weekly where you're checking in from a very holistic perspective. It's not just like, did you eat the thing and did you do the workout? It's like, how are you feeling? Like, you know, are you feeling energized? Are you feeling good? And it's a lot more inclusive than just what like you would think. So I remember this one time where I like didn't eat according to meal plan. Like it was like 3 days of like, I was emotional and sad because I learned some bad news about something. And I remember like getting on a call with you and being like, oh my God, she's going to kill me. Like, it was like, she's going to kill me. I got to tell her I didn't eat all the things on the meal plan. And that day you were not upset at me, obviously. You're not a scary coach, but at this, that's a personal problem. But in fact, like you doubled down on the fact that like, this is a part of this. Like if we don't let like, if we don't take breaks for what our body, mind, mood needs, then we're going to be forcing ourselves to do something, and that's not sustainable. Like in a long-term perspective, you want to be ebbing and flowing through this journey and make it sustainable, right? And also the fact that your mental health is a component in this. Like it isn't like, okay, we're doing the food and we're doing the workouts, and then how you feel emotionally is out of this like picture. Like you nailed it down so clearly that like we're talking about one thing here, which is your entire being. And that moment like was pretty life-changing for me because now I can find myself having like slow like dips and stuff, and I'll be more graceful. Like, you know, I'll be like, okay, it's okay, Farah, that like you couldn't do that today, and maybe your heart needs to like shift gears and do this right now, process this right now, and tomorrow you'll go back there and you'll do that other thing, you know. You'll have the energy for that. So that was my favorite moment with you. And then the second one, it was when the second time again we were working together and you decided to fuck the weight, like fuck the numbers. And I thought that was so powerful because at first I was like, oh no, wait, what you mean? Like, how are we going to track? Like, what do you mean? Like, how am I going to get a hit off of like the numbers changing?
100%.
Right?
Right.
And I was like shocked. I was like, I don't know if I could do this. Like pictures, what? So at first I was really shocked, but after a while I was like, okay, you know, we really do focus a lot on success, like externally, like visually, like how do we look, right? Like society even focuses on numbers and accolades and things like that. So we get driven and attached
Sure.
to that point of reference. But you flip the conversation to, you were like, we're going to focus on how we feel. And that part of it, I feel like, was always missing, right? Because we're so used to like numbing the feeling part and kind of like focusing on how it looks. But you reminded me through shifting my attitude from like, okay, I'm looking for this success on the weight scale to like, oh man, how am I feeling in my body? Like actually feel leaner, but I also feel more confident. I also feel more positive. And those, like, noticing those shifts is what like really connected me to loving fitness, right? Because then you know that it's not about what you get from it, but it's like, I mean, it is about what you get from it, but not from a external, how do I look perspective, but it's like, this is good for me. Like, it made my day better.
Yeah.
And then therefore I'll do it again because I'll want that feeling again.
Yes.
You know?
And then no one has to force you to do it. No
Right.
one has to tell you to
Right.
do it. It
Right.
doesn't become something that's like, I have to do this in a restrictive way to get to XYZ.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
Yeah.
because then you're intrinsically motivated because you
Right.
want that feeling again and again,
Right.
right? So those are my two favorite
Yeah.
moments of you. I was like, I'm going to share these because to me, they speak to your philosophy. And I feel
Absolutely.
like it's unique and it's beautiful. And I think it's helpful not just from a nutritionist space, but
Yeah.
just like a holistic space.
I love that you, first of all, my heart was like melting the whole time.
Ah.
Just hearing that, I'm like, man, my life's work is very impactful, and I'm happy to hear it. It's nice to go back and I don't have my own boss. I don't have
Right.
anyone telling me all the time, like, hey, you're doing a great job,
Yeah.
or it's
Yeah.
actually working what you're
It's a
doing.
one-woman show, yeah.
So when I hear this from my clients, like, it makes me feel really happy about what I'm doing, and I feel very thankful about it.
Yeah.
So thank you.
You are amazing. Like, you've made such a difference. I know I
Thank
say
you.
this a lot off camera.
That is
but on
absolutely
camera
the
too.
philosophy, right?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you did have some of the best photo like transformations. you realize that, right? Like, remember when you wore an old outfit
Oh, yeah.
and then put it back? Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We did the
Mind
Indian
blowing.
outfit,
Right.
like, over the course of, like, a year.
Right.
Yeah.
You had the best. And your mindset was there too. You know, there's always like a readiness mindset when it comes to changing lives and
Yeah.
transforming lives. And I don't even like saying transforming and changing. I don't know why I just said those two, because I think it's more just about enhancing our life, which is why I came up with the name Enhance, because it's really, I think we go into what you were talking about. You know, anytime I've worked with anyone that has a health goal, it's really not just about how do I change myself?
Yeah.
It's how can I love who I am today
Yeah.
and then enhance that? Because if you love the person you are today,
Right.
it is going to be more natural for you to want to do the things that you want to do,
Yeah,
because you're
that's
taking
so
care of
true.
yourself, you're loving yourself. If you have kids, if you have a dog, if you have family, you take care of them because you love them.
Right.
So once you start loving who you actually are to your true core,
Yeah.
you take care of yourself like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's so beautiful.
Yeah, it's
and
a
I couldn't
solo
agree
journey.
more. Yeah.
It's a very solo journey. Like, I know there's communities. I have a gym myself. We have
Right.
we have a community there, all that. But I'm always going to harp on the fact that anytime you are trying to enhance, evolve,
Yeah.
and just learn about yourself, it's
Yeah.
it's a solo journey. You want to start solo and be okay with doing it on your own, because you don't want to depend on anyone.
Yeah. No, it's crazy you say that because I actually remember I was married one of the times we were coaching, and I was like, yeah, me and my husband are doing this insanity workout every single day. And I was so proud of myself. And it was great and it was working. But you were like, you want to try something on your own? And I was like, what do you mean?
I remember that. I do that a lot. I'm like, okay. So what are you doing for yourself? What are you doing with yourself?
Yeah. What are you doing alone? And I was like, oh, I mean, okay, I go for a walk. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. And you know, anytime I've told anyone to go on a solo walk without music, without an audible or anything,
Yeah.
it's like, oh, so then what do I do? Like, be with yourself.
Be with, yeah.
Like, when you meet a new friend and you get to know this person, you spend time with them alone,
Yeah.
right? You have share hobbies with each other, maybe learn something together.
Yeah.
So that's something that you want to do with yourself. You're not alone. You're always with yourself. Right. As long as you're getting to know that person, you're going to be with that person.
Yeah, no, I love that.
Yeah.
Because through your coaching programs, the walking and the strength training, like the moments that were then set aside were just with myself.
Yeah.
And so I was already on like a separately on a therapeutic like mental health journey in loving myself and nourishing that. But those gave me like daily
practices.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
To actually spend the time.
Yeah.
Like it made it a ritual.
Right. And all the routines and practices we think is what we need to do, like the trendy ones out there. It's not even that. When we talk about daily practice, no one's telling you to meditate every day and do your breath. I think you should do breath work every day, but any practice, right? You're walking with yourself is a practice. Making breakfast for yourself and sitting down and enjoying that breakfast is a practice for yourself.
Yeah.
It's just having any of those moments with yourself. It can be a practice, right? There's no limits to like having a daily routine, and you can make it your own as long as it's serving you and making you feel good. Yeah.
Okay, so if people are interested in Enhance and like just having you as a coach or one of the coaches now that you support, what can they expect like from the program now? Because when we did it, it's shifted over time, right? Like there's probably different facets to it now. Yeah, it was just you.
Yeah.
But now you got a whole studio, which I love, by the way, looks amazing. And the people and the staff and the other coaches are so welcoming and so great at what they do.
Right.
And I'm saying all this because I was just at the grand opening and it was lovely. But yeah, so what can they expect in terms of what they would receive and how it would look? Like, what does a program with you look now?
So, like, Enhance came from Nadia's Nutrition, right?
Okay, yeah.
Because it was a solo business. I was
love
doing
the new
all the
logo, love the new name.
Thank you. I have a cousin, Anil, that helped me.
Amazing.
Just came up with the top of his head, and he's like, Enhance, my name.
It
so
was brilliant.
I know, he's brilliant. And, okay, so it came from a coaching standpoint, right? So I was training you guys, and then I was coaching you guys, right?
Yeah.
So now what we're doing is I still am going to coach. I do the mindset work. We do nutritional coaching. And then I have two incredible coaches at the studio, Coach Darius and Coach Casey. And they are some experts in their field. Coach Darius goes up to 6 to 8 people in his group, and Casey goes up to anywhere from I think up to 4. But their style is very great. Like Darius came from a very high intensity interval background, so he has that style of training, and Coach Casey has more of a strength training bodybuilding style. Right. So if you're wanting to work out at Enhance, you'd be working with a coach to be able to be a member. Right. Just because I want to promote the fact that, like you said, it's all intertwined, right? The mindset, the nutrition, the fitness, the recovery, it's all intertwined. And it's kind of like, where do you want to start? Right, in your journey. So you could start with a nutritionist first. You could start with fitness first. If you want to do a combination, you can work with everyone all together if you would like to do that. But it's really just about, where do you want to start? Like, say you want to work out, but you're noticing that your body is unable to kind of get up at the times, or you're noticing that when you work out, you're getting injured quickly. Maybe you want to start with recovery first. What if we need to start with nutrition and recovery first? Right? And then go into fitness, or you're ready to go do fitness, and then you're thinking, you know what? I want to do fitness, but I want to make sure I'm recovering. Okay, well, let's add some nutrition to that. So it's like an ecosystem at Enhance right now. And I have, like I said, the best coaches that are doing the fitness portion, and I'll be focusing on the nutrition recovery, and we're currently looking for a recovery coach to do that portion of it too.
Okay, what does recovery look like? I'm curious.
Sure. So I know when I say recovery, a lot of people will probably think a cold plunge or a sauna.
That is what I was thinking.
Okay, so I'm actually thinking like, how can you recover your body with movement and food? Okay, so stretching. There's massage gun therapy that we're actually launching.
I saw those vendors.
And so it's really about learning how to stretch your body out. Pre workout and post workout, and then using foods, specific foods to recover your body. So it's, again, a daily practice. It's like, when you're eating, remember to include X, Y, and Z, right, to be able to recover. So make sure you're having your protein, your branched chain amino acids from your protein sources to recover, right? And then stretch therapy. So learning how to stretch your own body as well. So it's a lot of in high school and middle school, and we don't really learn about how to eat and how to move,
Right.
or how to like stretch our bodies out,
Yes.
prevent injuries,
Yeah.
any of like that. It's like that. It's like training yourself to learn how to do these things so that you can feel very confident in your body and knowing that, hey, I can actually prevent an injury just by really focusing on my body and the recovery portion just as much as fitness and nutrition.
Yeah. No, I think that's so important. Like
Yeah.
we don't stress on that. And I love this conversation because a lot of the conversations I'm having on this podcast are going to be around mental health and healing, but it's another one of those things that we don't get in school and we don't learn about and we don't know how to do.
Right.
And what you're talking about is similar. Like we don't, and this is all intertwined again to that point, right? Like your body and how you take care of it before and after, like is a part of how the healing goes, right?
Yeah.
But I think what I was going to say about recovery is that I picked up yoga, and what I noticed was like when I slow down with my body, I'm able to feel more of it, if that makes sense. Like
it's amazing. But that's the same thing as like slowing your mind down.
Right.
What happens when you slow your mind down?
I'm more aware.
And you're more present.
Right.
You're more grounded. Nothing is taking control over you.
Yeah, and that's how it feels in the body.
Yes,
right?
and that's what yoga is about, right?
Yes.
Because it's slow, it's controlled. You're focusing on each stretch, each muscle group. Fitness has been thrown into like the high intensity, like sweating your ass off, whatnot, right?
And I'm not even talking about yoga where like they're doing handstands and backflips.
Right, you're talking about like very slow,
like restorative, like slow yoga, which has helped me just become more aware.
And it's very meditative, right?
It is.
Yeah.
Present and grounded and all those things.
Yeah.
Okay, I love that. I hope more people go to you with this entire ecosystem you've built now, because it feels like an all-in-one stop, you know, and everyone there has a different value to bring. So it's more than you now, but it's still you. So I love this.
Yeah, but I love that it's more than me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's nice.
What made you want to include because what I noticed is that the people you incorporated now get to grow their own brand, and you've given them a platform to build and just be more and do more things.
Yeah.
But what made you want to like pick those certain people, but also like grow with people?
I love that question because I have worked at, you can name every gym, and I've worked there. And it's just the commercial setting for personal trainers, it's not in their favor. All the way from like their hours to how much they get paid to how they get respected. The industry isn't that favoring of trainers.
Okay.
But trainers are the ones that build a rapport. They're the ones that go out and get the clients. They're you know what I mean? And they keep them. So I never had that, even though I'm very, very thankful for all the experiences at every gym I've ever worked at. Even if I wasn't getting paid what I was worth at the time, as long as I got the experience, the time, the knowledge with the clients that I've been able to kind of help, right? So I've learned, and I recommend anyone to start at commercial gyms and any other gyms just to kind of get a feel of the industry. But there was no space for established trainers to be able to build their own brand. They are their own brand. Right? And so there's not anything out there like that, I feel like. And so I just wanted a space that was like a trainer's dream. Like if you walked in and you're like, oh my gosh, I can totally have personal training sessions in here. Not like commercial style, not like only group training. I want to walk in here and I want to feel like I can train my clients and build a business here. You know what I mean? I just need the infrastructure. I just needed the equipment, and just let me see what I can do for myself. And there was nothing like that. And I wanted to build that for other coaches and trainers to be able to kind of grow their business, but also work in collaboration with them. Because if they have their space to be the coach they want to be, right, they're going to be even more impactful and more purpose-filled and more intentional about how they do their work, and they'll make more of a change in the world.
And I feel like a good leader, and like what I see you as, a mentor, leader, like a guide, always inspires other people to grow. And, it's not just about like, it is about modeling who you want to be and what you want people to be, but it's like seeing something for someone else and helping them and nourishing that for them so that another leader is born and another thing happens, which I see with the coaches you're doing and the space that you've created. So
and I chose them because of that. Like Casey has she's very sharp, and she will come up with the most random exercises with the it's like a toy store in there for her.
So creative.
Yeah, she's so creative. She engineers so many different styles of workouts, and she's going to be coming up with her own equipment one day.
Wow.
I know it.
Wow.
Because that's how smart she is. But I love that about her. She just walked in, and when we first started, we didn't have so much. We had a minimum amount of equipment.
Okay.
She made it work. I was like, man, I see my gym differently because of the way you started using the space.
Yeah.
And then Darius, he just exudes so much energy, and he just attracts so many people because of his energy. He walks in no matter what, he comes in with the most positive mindset, and he's just always making sure everyone is feeling okay, they're good, they're enjoying it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So two different styles, but two brilliant styles.
As you were talking, I was thinking about how much courage it takes to shift our mindset from like a competitive nature to like a grow with and build with nature.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I know shifting maybe into like kind of the fact that we come from the same community and the same background. There is this indirect, direct like narrative sometimes where there's only one cake and like you have to grab it and go for it, right?
Yeah.
And even like for myself personally, when I'm starting something like this podcast, I had a momentary moment where I was like looking at other podcasts and I was like, oh my goodness, like this is better. That's great. There's value.
Yeah.
There's this, there's that. And it almost prevented me from acting on this
100%.
or feeling like it is like there's a lack and scarcity out there and we can't all do it.
Sure.
And I think growing up in our community, at least for me, that mindset has been like literally drilled in. Like, I mean, you know, especially the generation before us, like our parents' generation, maybe times were different then. But I hear a lot of things like, well, she's doing this, like you were saying earlier, when you were talking about what you decided to do for school, like PA.
Yeah.
And so my parents and people would be like, oh, well, she's doing that and they're doing that.
Sure.
And why aren't you doing this? You know, she just got this, and that. Why haven't you got this, and that? She makes this much money, da, 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 da. So there's this like constant comparison, which even if you're not feeling it, you can just like secondhand that a little bit. And I think it can get...
You could totally secondhand that.
You could totally secondhand that. And so what happens over a period of time for me was like you get caught up in that. You know, you can also make your life so narrow and start to really feel like, okay,
limited mindset.
Yeah, limited mindset, exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that what you're speaking about, like the way you're building your business, is just echoing and like spotlighting the fact that there's abundance here. Like if we start to believe like that there's only this much, then we will only see this much and we will only get this much,
100%.
Right. Versus if I believe, like for me with the podcast, what I started to do is like, listen, like you're unique and your story's unique and the people you bring, they're unique and their stories are unique. And it's going to be good for some people and it's not going to be good for others.
Right.
And that's okay. You know, it's better than not trying at all, and it's better than not doing anything at all. And also, I think just this idea of growing with instead of competing for does so much more for the collective.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, very well said, by the way.
Yeah.
My entire career, I've been so blessed with people wanting to help me. Okay? I've had support, and I've had help. And when I talk about that, I mean people just answering my questions. I was such a curious person from college, like professors constantly helping me with answering questions. I've always found ways to get my questions answered. And in that way, I've been very supported. And as long as people help me open my brain so I don't have a limited mindset, that's where I'm thankful. You could do anything when you don't have a limited mindset.
Yeah.
And I think our parents came from that too. Everyone, like a lot of people have come from that, right? We think there is a finish line. We think that there's a top of the mountain. There's really no such thing. It's really like, how do you want to live your life? What kind of quality of life do you want? What are you going to do while you're here on this earth? Right? Because we're all going to the same place. So that's kind of why I don't see anything as a competition. We're literally all going to the same place. And I just think that if we all just slow down, we'll realize that and think, just like you said, there's so many people in this world. You're going to connect with somebody. Right?
Exactly.
That other person's going to come with somebody else. you'll connect with somebody else.
Right.
There's no really like winning the race because there really isn't one.
There isn't one. And I think that's so true, because when I started to really dig in deep to resolve the secondhand lack scarcity mindset was realizing that me and you, me and another podcast person, like, we're on the same goal. We have the same destination, which is in this instance, it's to spread awareness or spread healing or share stories or, share tools. Like, we are literally on the same mission. We have the same purpose. We're on the same team. And when I realized that we're on the same team, like, the competitive scarcity mindset just literally like blows out.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, we're together in this.
But don't you also think that having that competitive mindset, which is a natural human,
it helps you achieve things. And
right? It's a human emotion to be envious and to be jealous. But at the same time, there is a small piece of competitiveness that allows you to want to push further. But I think that there's a negative connotation on the term competitiveness too.
Right.
Right?
Right.
So, like, it doesn't have to be nasty. It doesn't have to be negative, right? It could be infuriating at times, and it could be like, she did that before me, or damn, I wish I would have thought of that, because I've been there.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Like
naturally.
I used to compete, so I used to compare myself to every competitor out there, and then I was like, you know what? We're all going to the same place.
Right.
And it's just going to be about how we get there. And if I'm happy about how I got there, then I'm good.
That's
really
so true. Yeah. And I think you're right. Like, competitiveness, the idea of wanting to be better, like, I think I would reframe it that way.
Right.
Or the idea of wanting to achieve more or do more.
Yeah. But better than what? Yourself or somebody else?
Right. And I think that's the important part. Like,
Right.
what's your intention behind that? Like, are you being... are you trying to put someone down to get ahead, or do you feel this limited mindset that that there is only one thing, so you need to be that thing? Or is it inspiring you to grow? Is it inspiring you to do more? Because that's lovely. That's lovely, right? Because if we didn't look and if we didn't focus on the artists, the people that quote unquote make it or do big things, like, if we didn't stop to look at their journey and focus on them, where would we get the inspiration from, right? Like, that is important.
Like, look, like, we're here from our own journey.
Yeah.
Right? And now, like, I'm learning a lot from you and your mindset and how you're helping others as well.
Yeah.
Just the way you even speak about everything, you always start with intention and you always start with self-reflection first. That's why you're not judgmental. You're not like a competitive, nasty person. It's because you're just here to do good for the world. And then you're like, how can I, like, find space? And that's probably why you, like, came up with that. But you're like, okay, I know I can make space here. I know I can help people, and you're doing that. But you're doing it with such grace. It's beautiful.
It makes me very emotional. So thank you.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you more questions on our shared culture and background.
Yeah.
But that's going to take another hour. And
it's like a whole nother series.
So, as discussed, we might do, like, maybe another one where we can dig deeper in that.
Sure.
But I want to make sure I get two other things out of the way before you go and you leave us. One is, and I'm going to be selfish here and ask a question that I think would resonate with me, so maybe somebody else. But maybe they're in a place where they've yo-yoed the shit out of their nutrition life, right? Like, they're in it and then they're out of it, and then they're in it and then they're out of it, and so then it becomes harder, as they say, to get back up and to go and to do anything. So I guess for them and for people who maybe have never started their holistic, like, journey when it comes to treating your body, your nutrition, and your mind with that nourishment, what would you tell them? What tools and tips do you think that they can do just right off the bat? Like, what do you think?
I have some simple ones, but just to clarify, when you say yo-yo, you mean being on track and off track? Is that what we're talking about? Okay, got it. So essentially, it's like this. You already know what to do. We all know what healthy food is, okay? We all know. It's
true.
And that doesn't mean it's just chicken and rice.
Right.
We all know that we can eat healthy and how to eat healthy.
Yeah. Healthy fats, healthy everything. Yeah.
But it's really about routine and habits, discipline and sacrifice. I always talk about that. And so if you have discipline and you know that you have to make some sacrifices to really have the lifestyle that you want and have the quality of life that you want, then it's really just about your habits and your routine. Okay.
Yeah.
So I always like to start with these simple, just simple items. Okay. It's really just starting with eating more fruits. I know that sounds very basic, but there is a huge impact in just having 5 fruits a day. There's so many people out there that are worried about sugar and fruits, but really it's just hydrating yourself and having enough vitamins. Why? What ends up happening is that it helps with your cravings. So right now, if you're having cravings, excessive cravings, or you're having cravings because of your emotions, then a lot of the time you're lacking in nutrients. So having enough fruits and vegetables can curb your appetite right away.
Okay.
So that's number one. Because I think the appetite is what gets everyone there, right? I'm binge eating or I'm not eating. I'm binge eating or I'm not eating. Or I try to eat healthy and then I can't handle it anymore, so I go back to binge eating.
Yeah.
Right? Does that resonate?
Yeah, it does actually.
Okay, so that's very, very common,
Yeah.
right? And a lot of that is only because we've told ourselves eating healthy looks a certain strict way.
Right.
And that's not it at all. If you trust your decision making, you're going to be fine. And the best way to trust your decision making is if your brain is healthy. If your brain is healthy, it's going to make those healthy decisions.
Love.
So eat your fruits and vegetables. As crazy and as basic as it sounds, eating your fruits and veggies is going to allow you to curb your appetite, to hydrate yourself, to think clearly. When you think clearly, you think better, you make better decisions for yourself. You sleep better. When you sleep better, your brain heals. You know this.
Right.
When your brain heals, what happens? Your self-esteem goes up, your confidence goes up. So that's kind of why I start there, is because a lot of us are, we're going up and down in our cycles, but we tell ourselves that we have to start with X, Y, Z, and then add X, Y, Z again, and then have it prepped this way, and it has to be perfectly this way, but life does not look that way. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So you have to be prepared for pivoting. You have to be prepared for life. How do you stay prepared? Your mind.
Love this.
Yeah.
There's simple things that even like I hearing you say it again, it's like I know this, but it's nice to remind ourselves.
Do you think you're
We
eating 5
forget.
fruits and vegetables a day?
No, definitely.
So when you
not.
were, how did you feel?
When I was,
tell me.
to your point,
Yes.
with you, of
Yes.
course, I felt more present and I felt more focused.
Okay.
And that helped me carry the rest of my day
Yes.
with a lot more
Yes.
intention.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's why I'm like, eat your fruits and veggies.
I know.
And then
You
people are
always
like,
said that,
okay.
and you always said they don't count in the calorie count.
Well, we don't count place. Like food should never
right.
be data.
Yeah.
Like food came from the universe. There is some sort of connection, and there's something beautiful about being connected to food that I feel like is missing. And we're kind of like filling the gap. Like we're extending the gap between the universe and us with like data. Like eat this much and eat this kind and eat low this and low that, right?
Yeah.
We're not really like looking at food like, hey, when I eat sweet potatoes, I have more energy. When I eat strawberries, I feel like my skin and hair and nails are just glowing. When I,
Right.
or when I eat fish or omegas, like I can tell my brain's a lot more clear and I'm more focused. We're not thinking about food doing something for our brains directly. We're thinking
Yeah.
about data and how much. That's why I took out
Yeah.
the scale, because
Yeah.
it was so disruptive. But you saw yourself and you felt how good you felt,
Yep.
and that's why you made so. Like we didn't even look at the scale after that.
No,
we only looked
I
at your
don't do that anymore.
right.
Yeah.
And you kept tighter and tighter and tighter, just because you were consistent.
Yeah.
Right. So you know what to do.
Right.
Everyone knows what to do. Just start in one place that you
Yeah.
know that if you did for the next 3 to 4 days, and you just start feeling better. When you start feeling better, you will make better decisions. No one's going to have to tell you what to do.
Right. I love this.
You know?
I have to applause. Applause. Nobody's here.
Eat your fruits and veggies.
Eat your fruit and veggies. Okay. All right. So this is a new official part of the podcast where I ask a bunch of rapid fire questions.
Okay.
I've been inspired by Karan Johar and Coffee with Karan, but they're not.
Was it Coffee with Karan?
I think it's Coffee with Karan,
Okay.
right?
I think so.
I think so. But anyway, these are very different types
Doesn't
of
someone
questions.
else do rapid fire?
I think everyone does. I
Okay.
think it's like a thing on
Yeah,
a podcast.
that's cool. It's
It
fine.
is cool.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want to do that, but
I love that.
these questions are a little bit like different.
Okay. Just hit me with it.
Okay. Ready?
Yes.
I wish like the lights could change and the sound could change, but
Like,
okay. All right. What is one thing that you do daily to prioritize your mental well-being, no
Walk.
matter how small?
Walk.
Oh,
There's not a day that doesn't go that I don't walk. If the
Yeah.
weather sucks, I walk. I bundle up. I walk.
Aw,
It's,
okay.
I mean, if it's tornadoing, like we're not doing that,
Yeah,
right?
right.
We'll find ways to stretch out. Like I will put a whole hour into just stretching out if I can't walk outside.
Okay.
But walking is something that I will never ever stop doing.
Yeah.
It's the best way to regulate your sugars.
Yeah.
Best way to regulate your emotions. Best
Yeah.
way.
Actually has that
Yeah.
bilateral movement in it, which we use a lot in therapy to regulate
There
when
we
you slow
go.
down.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Walking it is. What's one societal norm you wish people would challenge more often?
I would say lifting for women.
Ooh,
Yeah.
that's a good one.
In our in our community.
Yeah.
Right? Like who did we grow up seeing any brown girl lift?
No.
You know, I felt so out of the loop.
You
I
too?
just felt like I'm like, wait, why am I the only one? Where are they at? But I mean, I do think that, I mean, from the comments I've got growing up, it's not manly to lift.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It is to lift is to have a better mind and body connection. To lift is to have, you know, your muscles stay alive.
Yeah.
Right? You have longevity when you lift.
Yeah.
You have dopamine when you lift. You have meditation when you lift. Lifting is overall just so good for the soul.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I do think that a lot of women get a little nervous to train and get too bulky, but
Right.
there's no way you'll get bulky unless you're eating in a surplus.
Right,
You know what I
right,
mean?
yeah.
But most of the time when you're lifting and you're eating well, you're going to look the best naked.
Yeah.
When you lift, okay? So don't just,
Win.
you know?
Yeah.
So I'm just saying lifting is not so much more than looking a certain way, so much more. And I wished that growing up we had that.
Agreed. Yeah, we didn't see that often. It was like a new concept at
Yeah.
some point. Now it's a lot more common, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think it's so important for people to hear and us to remember the benefits of lifting beyond what we typically would think, you know? Like you're saying, even I've been like kind of researching into just the fact that if we want to stay as long as we're alive, to stay as healthy as possible, to stay as mobile as possible, like what can we do? And
Sure.
a lot of that comes from building our muscle strength.
That's because our metabolism lives in our muscle.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like if you want a metabolism and you want a life, you gotta lift.
You gotta lift.
You gotta lift. And it doesn't have to be like heavy. It could
Yeah.
be resistance. It could be your baby. Lift your baby. Or just lift your dog.
Lift your
like
dog, yeah.
you
My
could
dog's
yeah,
pretty
you don't have to go inside the gym either. Like you could easily just do this stuff at home too, you know?
Yeah.
It's just wake up your muscles, move your muscles, grow your muscles.
Yes. What is the weirdest thing you've done to reset your mental state?
Girl, I dance by myself. Like
I wanna see this.
I like shake my booty like I'm 2 years old and like bob my head like I'm 60. Like I do the weirdest dances.
Respect.
Weirdest dances, but yeah, you should see me in my room. It's
I would love to see.
you know, at first I used to be weirded out about it. Then the more I did it and the better I felt, I'm like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Even though I've been in the industry so long, it always surprises me when I move my body and how it connects to the way I feel. It's still so beautiful, such a beautiful connection. And
yeah.
that's why. But yeah, I just dance like nobody's watching. Literally.
I love that. I think dancing like nobody is watching is when you're doing it to the fullest.
Correct.
And so you're letting yourself express.
No judgment, so nothing.
Unapologetically. So you can really like feel
Yeah.
everything you need to.
Yep.
Okay, 2 more. What's your guilty pleasure for when you need to escape reality for a bit?
Probably like dating shows.
Ooh.
I love Love is Blind.
Are you watching the new season?
I totally am.
Okay, cool. The weddings are coming out today.
I know.
I
Can't wait
love
till the
that show.
reunion. But yes, guilty pleasure would just be like dating shows and like
Yeah.
rom-coms.
Okay, I love this.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for the weddings today. Okay.
We'll talk. We'll talk.
We'll talk. Last one. What's the funniest piece of advice you've ever gotten about mental health?
Oh. Just pray. Like you're dying.
I'm dead.
Just
I'm dead.
pray and it'll all work out. And I'm not saying prayer doesn't work. I am saying, what if you are praying and God sent you some help? You know?
Right, done.
Like, what if someone's there to help you, and you should go talk to them and get some help. But yeah, I've just been told, just pray, it'll go away.
I've heard that one too many times. Like, please, all you need to do is, just pray a little bit.
A little bit. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. And again, look, I think
Correct.
praying is beautiful. I pray.
I have faith
my own way. I pray my own way.
Right.
But I do think that it takes action too, and I do think that people are in this world to help you heal. Like you're a healer. And we should be open to getting help.
Agreed.
You know?
I love this. That was epic. I'm just not gonna forget that.
Pray it away.
Okay, thank you so much for doing this. I know we're out of time. I could talk to you for hours. And we probably will do it again, but if you're up for it. But thank you, seriously, thank you so much. I think that you're like one of those people that we look up to. Like I know I look up to growing up in the community. If we know each other, but you look up to and you wonder like, what is this person all about, and like what got them there, and like what inspires them, what motivates them, how do they think? Like, so I hope that this resonates and reaches people that it needs to.
I really do.
Thank you.
If anything, it helped me.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So we win today.